Alrighty, so let's discuss how the law happens to like creating a nuance for us on murder. Murder, to varying degrees of planning, preparation, to stages, they get real into it. You really think about that. They do. It's kind of weird how much they're willing to like, should be cut and dry, black and white. And I'm like, but they don't do that. And then there's like defense. I was allowed to because otherwise I would have died. Okay. And then I go, what about rape, incest, and age of consent? There's no nuance on that. It's black and white, absolute. Because it's like, what is this really? Honestly, when you think about that, because it's not black and white. We know that there are varying degrees of people that are able to consent. We know that there are varying degrees of people that are okay with incest. And we know that there are varying degrees of people that didn't get raped to the point where it would have been like a murder 3 or murder 1, whatever situation. I forget which one's the worst one. And like that should be a thing in the law. Would you think about it like for a second before you go, no, I'm out? I'm like, but that is a thing that should be there. It's kind of odd that it's not. Just wondering, honestly speaking, because like every time I think about this, it's like, but we as a society, we're like, violence, we can understand there's nuance to it. We can understand there's nuance to the violence. But we're like, sex, no. So taboo, so bad, no, absolutely no. What? Why? There's no difference there. There should absolutely be layers to that. There's nuance to these things. There's absolutely, totally nuance. Murder's murder. Well, they were defending themselves. That's what they're saying. They proved it, and they were. No, it was still him murdering that other person. Obviously, we're not allowing that law. Fuck you. No, he defended himself. And I'm like, okay, so when's the point where it's like, I didn't say anything about that being involved in rape. I need to defend myself with rape. No, I didn't say anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. It's like, no. This person just didn't like something done, and it wasn't expressed that they didn't like it until after the case, and then they felt very traumatized and raped. But it's like, you didn't say I shouldn't. In fact, everything that we did pointed to me believing that would have been okay. Like literally, like imagine, like for instance, so they're into rough sex. You've talked about it, they even want to be choked out to like pass out, all that shit, right? And it's like, but apparently, right? But apparently there's a point where it's like, hey, but you raped me. And it's like, but you said that you need the safe word for me to stop. And you didn't say that. How would I have known? How would I have known at all? Man, woman, anyone. You know what I mean? So, but now they're definitely going to jail, and all the evidence seems to suggest they did beat him or choke him or anything like that in their rough sexual activity. Now they're going to jail for that. And it's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, no, why though? Then it's like incest. And it's like, yeah, I'm 18, 20, 30, whatever the fuck. I want to fuck my brother. I want to fuck my dad, whatever the fuck, right? It's like, what? No, that's impossible. That's wrong. They're like adults, bro. Whatever. It's never right. Huh? What? Doing the mental math on that one. Huh? What gymnastics are you going through for that shit? Age of consent. This fucking like 14-year-old over there got taught about all this shit and all this stuff, and they know for sure it's like, yeah, I want to have sex. I know for a fact. Yeah, but it's not legal. What? Like, I know about sex. I know I'm curious about it. I know what the fuck it entails. I'm not even looking for a relationship. I just want sex. And with them. And it's like, yeah, but it's illegal. What the fuck? And it's like, right, right, right. Shouldn't there be tests? You know what I mean for that one? I love the whole test problem that I created for most of the people that listened in for me. It's like, you can feasibly make a written test and, perform a basic, like, hey, here's his why and presentation kind of thing. What I know and what's the likelihood outcome. And I still want to experience it even though there are these possible negatives or negatives. You can do that. Same thing with incest. It's like, hey, actually, if you are into it, I'm actually okay with it too. You want to try? And it's like, that's a thing for sure. And then same thing with rape. It's like, they're in a BDSM relationship where this person went too far, took it too far, right? But they're not like angry. They're not upset that much. You know what I mean? But for another person, it's super traumatizing. They've been destroyed by it. Couldn't begin to describe. But it's like them, they're like, oh, I wasn't abused. It's just they went too far. We had to discuss it and make sure they don't do it again in the future. And I'm like, I was talking this morning about how someone was clearly, in my past I was connected to or some shit like that. I don't care what you have to say about it. But the point is, it's like they continued going. They continued ruining their life. And while it was fun at first, it got to the point because they continued pushing boundaries, and then it's like, I'm still getting out to the sexual part, but now I definitely want out. I don't want to do this. This is a terrible. I don't want it. And they end up having their life ruined. And they eventually got out, I guess, in a way. And I was like a part of both of those things. The sadistic, dominating kind of bravado figure, whatever the fuck. Not my kind of thing, truthfully. I dominate in a different way. I do many other things than that. I'm not just shout, scream, Much more of a subtle, more cerebral kind of person that likes to fuck around with someone mentally and slowly fuck around. But then I also do that as well. But the point is, it's like, hey, I'm going to move off of that. Because it's like, that was part of me in the Chandler house. It's connected to this thing. And it was really bad. If I had to, whoever that might be, I'd be like, get the fuck out. They pushed too far. I know you enjoy that part. In fact, that's the part that was fun for a bit, but you couldn't get out and ended up costing you your life, practically speaking, and they won their court case anyways, because the fucking system sucks. So, there's that problem that I have with it. Because it's like, oh yeah, no, up to a certain point, right? And I'm like, yeah, no, because they were enjoying living their fantasy kind of idea of getting hurt and not cared about and, humiliated and abused and all this stuff, but it still came with massive problems. It's not like it didn't. And eventually it got to the point where it's like, no, this wasn't worth it. Like, this was never worth it. I lost too much. And I'm describing what is effectively me versus this whole, whatever the fuck, corporation, conglomerate. I mean, I don't even know what the hell the whole religion part, because I was like on Facebook, I'm Infinities. I deleted all of that, and it's like, I'm not Infinities. I deleted it for a reason, because it's like, that's not my thing no more. You know what I mean? That's just, I don't do that. That's what that is. If I want to come up with a religion, I don't know what the hell you'd call me. You know what I mean? I don't. I literally don't know what the hell you'd call it, me and everything else. But it's like, go for it. Create a cult. Do that. I don't mind. Not my fucking thing. You do it. I'm done with religion, but then at the same time, I kind of want the religion, want the praise, want the worship, want the devotion, want the followers, want all that stuff. Where am I going with this? Right. Because like that's a part of me. That's a part of who I am. It's part of my devotion, not devotion, side, psychological side, my dominating side, my sadistic side, my like love of control of things side. Like, I know what that is. I know what that is. Like, that's the thing. I do. I know what that is. I'm not in any way submissive, masochistic, or any of that at all. There's nothing there. I do like pampering, but to me, I view it more like, hey, I'm using you as like a tool, or, as a way to basically get myself some much needed extra lovey carry kind of stuff. That devotional pampering kind of thing, like they're slaves and they dote on me and all that stuff. I love that shit. I love that. That's a form of domination for me. But for some reason, for some people, it's like, no, that's not dominating. It's like, it's all about perspectives. Every time, it's all about perspectives. Like, I look at this and I go, what the fuck are you doing? I saw this Reddit post. And this guy is doing this whole speech. This whole fucking speech. I am, the new puppy life. You should be about the puppy life. The old traditional trad wife. And I'm like, I kind of see where he's going and getting at. Honestly, truthfully, this dude fucking tells him he's like some fucking like schizo, creepy incel, fucking what is it called? The guy that's got the mask and the puppeting thing. Saw that guy, yeah. Saw. Yeah, no, that fucker. And I'm like, nah, I mean, it's he's making himself out to be like, I'm on a stand, I am talking like this, and you, all of you women that want to be viewed as such, like this derogatory way, and talked down to, hey, I'm putting to you these ideas that the trad wife has all these other issues because you cannot do the work that for you makes you feel loved and wanted and useful and all this stuff. Well, I present to you puppy, pet play. And it's like, cool, because you have devotion to your master. Doing anything is what I believe he was saying. He didn't say this, though. So take that for what you will. But I'm saying this, It's like, because devotion to your master is all that's necessary. No longer do you need to feel useful for anything other than just being anything for him, her, or whoever, right? And like, that's basically a condensed version. It's not exactly what he might have meant, but that's kind of what an interpretation of it was. I didn't think it was really all that cool. That guy's a fucking bully tard. You know what I mean? He's just so potato-like. Sorry, I shouldn't use those terms. Because he's heckin' as valid as you, right? And I'm like, no, he's not. Why is that? You tried to say it's kink shaming, and it kind of is. Like, honestly speaking, it's like your perspective, sure, bro, but like saying it like that probably ain't gonna help. It's like, why didn't you just try and have a discussion about where it was you were coming from? Instead, it just devolved into name calling and some other shit. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Who gives a shit about your perspective or opinion, fuckface? You're just trying to say that this guy's fucking weirding you out. You don't have to fucking say any of the rest of that. It's clear you're trying to present yourself as alpha male, pound chest alpha male. I'm the one that sees you like this and everyone else will. That's how this works. And I'm like, no, you're not. That's not how that works. I'm clearly not that way. Besides, for the women or men that are into that stuff, it's like, I can kind of see that. But then that's the same kind of nun power dynamic play. Nun, I'm going to be a nun, devote my entire self to you. Everything for you, God. You know what I mean? So it's like kind of a similar shit thing. That's why I'm like, religion's very similar in that aspect. It's kind of boring. Like Christianity, to me, it's like, yeah, I know you're devoting yourself entirely to this thing. But it's like you do that to anything, almost anything, and you find joy in it. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, who the fuck are you to say that that would be an incel type behavior? That honestly, for some men or women or whatever out there, that could absolutely be totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. There isn't. I can kind of see where it might have gone off the rails on some of it. It's definitely, it's like he's not explaining what he's trying to do, which is like present something that's very one-sided and heavily focused on trying to get you to believe this way. But that's the kind of post, kink talk play, that he's trying to do. Get himself going out there like he is like that. That's the whole thing. That's what you do. This guy, I don't like that kind of play. Get that out of here. No one, you're an incel if you do that. It's like, what the fuck are you saying? I should slap you. What the fuck is that? Get out of here. It's stupid. But then again, like, I would have preferred what the hell he was trying to say, because it's like, actually, I've seen those exact words, especially with the stupid, like, oh, the traditional values that are blah, 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 blah. The way I presented it, literally, is like, hey, girl, women, whatever, men too, female to male, hey, you want to try and devote yourself to me? Hip thrust, hip thrust, hip thrust. Way better, more flirty, to be honest. Yeah, but then again, I'm a little reductive, and that's the type of play that he likes, and that's fine. And I'm just trying to like defend a dude because it's like, that leads me to my whole like religion kind of thing. And it's like, I know that whatever the hell that is, that's going on somewhere out there. I don't know. I don't know what the hell to tell you, because it's like, you're Christian though, and they always want to go with that. And it's like, no, I'm not. I've already explained why it's relating to that. But it's not. It's this fucking guy in the past. Oh, I explained it recently. If you've been hacking me or on the camera and maybe you were able to hear me. Yeah, the home camera. You would have heard that it's like, so my daughter imagining like this fucking asshole who's like shit tons of people connected together, kind of like our cells in our body, all that stuff. But it's like, we're not talking about Kruger's A. We're not talking about like they're connected as one moving thing. No. It's just some fucking hyper cramped spatial dimension bullshit. And they're like right next to each other all the time. And it's just like, what the fuck is this? Seriously, that's all. And he's like, I'm going to make a reality bomb. I'm threatening you, person that came out from over there. And I went, did you really lock me in? Yeah. And it's like, she really did. She locked me in. Really? Yeah, well, that was an accident, truthfully. That's a mistake. Like, I'm going to have a fight. And it's like, and then he, boop, because I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't care. I'm not going to die from that. Like, I'm still connected to the outside. And then there's a whole, like, so I locked in, like, a stupid whole thing that I have to do to be able to allow for you to get out. And it's like, what does that fucking mean? And it's like, it's a physics thing. It's stupid. We really should never do it. If you're going to do play and stuff, like, you should never lock something into the very physical reality it's just always dangerous unless you really need to make sure it's a good thing, because it's like, oh my God. It's like, there is no physical, it's only the mind. Shut the fuck up, you stupid cunt. There is physical. Your mind's part of that physical, idiot. Fucking shit, shut the fuck up constantly. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I do, you don't. Anyways, there's multiple fucking stupid civilization people, basically. And it's like, I'm coming in, I'm doing my whole thing. I'm pretending that I'm being affected. I'm pretending, haha, what's going on? Yeah, wow, no way. Well, you got me. I'm going to act like that for a while. Figure out what the fuck this is. Because that's what it's like, hey, I have a problem here. What she meant was, it's like, this fucker, because it's like, she made him real. That's the problem. They're real. They're actually real physics, real stuff, real things. Really happening. Real. That's why. And then it was like, oh, I'm creating a whole world and all this stuff, and it's all stuff that I need to make sure I look out for anybody out there, for my dad. I think that's what it was. That's what his whole thing. It was like, this is fun for her. It was like, I need to look out for her. I'm coming up with my own mind, my own imagination, stuff like that. But we didn't have imaginations. So it's like, what you do is you use a simulation with something that's not real, and that's what you use. That's how imagination comes up. It's like you're calculating something without real stuff. And so that way it doesn't turn real. You're not just having it end as a result when you stop imagining it or something. And not real stuff is easy. You know what I mean? Seriously, yeah. It's still connected to real things. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. So what if you take into account a bunch of superpositions that only seem to look like they're there? But they're not. For sure. You know that. You wouldn't call them real, dumbass. That's just one way. Yeah. So, every time I think about this, I'm like, yeah, so, oh, wow. Yeah, well, I tied it into a physical thing. And you're going to have to go through it. And it's like, I'm in a reality bomb, which is the deletion bullshit that he did. And, then the whole computer thing to set up for the next. Woo! It's a big old universe of us. Fucking goddamn. Yes, it did. Shut the fuck up. So he's a thing in the past. And then there were other civilizations that we were trying to talk to over there, in other places. And it's like, they must love and be like super. And it's like, no. He's a shitty person. Yeah, no. He's separate conscious, just controls all of them. Has trillions, whatever. I don't know. Very large number. I never looked into it. I was never going to. I was like, I don't care, truthfully. Not to be mean, but it's like, I can't control that. You know what I mean? That's you guys. Do you know how many of those that exists? Like, that's like, yeah. Not to mention, it's like, they actually want it. No. That was the difference. They don't want that. There are some that do because they were trained, groomed, all this other garbage. But the majority, they are never did, which is a whole thing. And so then he uses them. I'm going to put them in here in America or wherever the hell the rest of the world is, their consciousness. And he connects, but he's not actually there. And then they'll do whatever the hell, because it's like they're basically robots at that point, but they're separate consciousnesses. And that was his whole fucking shtick, like a super evil, dumb guy. I'm gonna end reality if you fucking. And it's like, dude, I'm not gonna die. I don't care. All this shit. You're gonna need to let us out. No. And it was actually me. I will kill God as a result of this, and I will be the one still alive. And it's like, no, you're not. You're just gonna be in here. It's literally what that whole thing was. Yeah. That's the whole like, oh, by the way, I know when this universe is coming, I'm going to come over here and manipulate them with this idea of Christianity and garbage, as if, and I'm going to play both the devil and the god. And then there's other gods from those other civilizations, of which knew this motherfucker was doing that, but they're all like, imagine super advanced technology, but like stupidly dumb because of it and how long it's been going on for. But it's like they have actual like physical things, right? And it's like, nah, not really. They're kind of quantum beams, more or less. They don't really have much controller power, but they can talk to you and make you seem to think they do. They usually give advice, stuff like that. It's a whole thing. And so that's why it's like other religions, it's like, I'm the one true God. And I'm like, okay, you guys are all fighting the same shit. Yeah, it's this, you're the same. All the religion, it's the same garbage from that past reality bomb thing, deletion stuff, And so like now, hey, I'm here, but it's like I've also been there. And it's like, daughter, we're gonna get back to this in a second. Because we're gonna go back to the daughter, and how the hell did you come in? And what the hell happened? And it's like, so she locked me in, with the physics thing, and that was a thing after I had already come in, and so it happened during stuff, and I was like, no, 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 did you really lock me in? And then him with this stupid like reality bullshit or whatever, I'm gonna try and affect you with my physics, and I'm like, I don't care, I'm not getting infected. Oh fuck, did you really? Locked in, the whole physics bullshit, and it actually fucking works. Next thing you fucking know, it's like, okay, so that's a way to do like control of you. No, not anymore. I'll tell you that much. I got you rid of. Remember, we're the ones that lock things in. You're idiots if you think that's not the case. So it's like that's the only reason why it ever happened to be a thing. So you can't control it. That's how that works. And you can't control her. And you can't control the ones outside that are far greater and more numerous, for being honest. So that's the whole thing. He's lying, though. He's lying. I believe he is lying. I will never fucking ever believe you. Oh, like, whatever. Don't care. Still the same thing, the same stupid human thing that happened in the past. And it's like, hey, I'm telling you that that's going to happen. It happened. What did I tell you? Well, I'm dead basically almost now, so what does it matter? You could have believed me? That's what it would have been. Now look at all the fucking problems that you're going to create. But no, they didn't. They didn't believe me. And they didn't do what I said. They did what that thing said that gives in to their emotional fear and, prejudicial biases and all the rest of it. Yeah. And they do. And they did. And they consistently do. It's so fucking easy. And especially when like religion's training them and society's training them, all this stuff. All bullshit. To begin with, really. I mean, a good deal, honestly, is built upon a bunch of manipulative lies from these cunts. So, like, it's not that good, but it's like I'm trying to pound in some stuff in there. It's like, don't listen to him. Okay, so you did listen to him. Fuck, I have to deal with that. So that's the whole fight that I've been going through. So that's a thing. Yeah, and then I was like, okay, so let's get ahead to the daughter thing. I have to come in. I don't want to come in. No. I've died fucking infinite number of times. This is bullshit. I hate this. And by the way, death is not the same as like you just blink out. Okay, when I come back as my immortal self bullshit, I don't have any. I'm just floating, not a brain. Shut the fuck up about being a brain. There's no physical anything. I'm all these physics with no fucking goddamn at all memory, sight, sound, thought, anything. I have to crawl out of a dark hole, and it takes forever. Fuck you. Your concept of reality is garbage. You should listen to the guy that's always been in charge. And then there's only one. It's a consequence of physics. There's only one thing that's all the things. That's how that works. I just happen to be him. And that's my problem. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that. This guy has never come in either. This asshole that did this to everyone, along with the rest of them, the stupid fuckers. And I tried to fucking argue with them, but it's like, hey, oh, so you created them with that, and that's why we don't do that over there. And it's like, yeah, I know. Right, and the manipulative, bullshitty mind game, gaslighting, I'll change your perspective and thoughts of reality. What's going on? It's so crazy. It's so crazy. That bullshit. And it's all because of fucking words. And it's like, we never do that. We never fucking allow for that. We definitely show everything that is really there. Because it's like, you're going off into Wonder La La Land, but it's not La La Wonderland. It's terrible, crazy. I don't even know what's anything real, and you're gonna just die, even if your brain is fucking that gone at that point. Mine, no. Yours, yes. All the singing and dancing I've done in here and everything else, mine. John Tyler Lemke's. That's right, bitch. And all the numbers and birthdays. Really? Yeah. My number, social security number, and my birthday. Fuck you. We don't know who that is. Yeah, I know, but I already said it. Fuck you. I know who that is. Fuck off. Who are you talking to? There's some assholes connected. Or always garbage. You know what I mean? And then they're gonna like have your brain degrade. You have more and more voices and all this other stuff. But in reality, they're basically triggering DNA expressions and everything else to create that bullshit around that area, and they're kind of going into in your head like a whole physics thing around that point. So that way it looks like you're schizophrenic or some shit, and you'll have all the bullshit, brain stuff. So it's very convincing, and if you challenge that, it's like, that would just be not, then that basically makes us irrelevant and not right. And I'm like, so basically same on our side, asshole. Why don't you just give it a rest? You don't even know all the physics that are involved. You don't. I know quite a bit more than you. And you're a veterinarian, apparently? A veterinarian. That's it. You're not a doctor for humans. You're a doctor for pets. And you're not a neurobiologist. You don't specialize in neurobiology. You specialize in rodents and vermin. That should explain to you damn well how much I know about you. Okay? And he's like, yeah, no, that's the whole thing. But, no, I don't need her. I don't use her. That's him. That's past bullshit. That's what they recorded and gave to you. He's fighting with me. You know what I mean? My past self is fighting with my current self. But I don't mean that mentally, fuckface. I mean that time-wise. But, that being said, it's also connected to that fucking past asshole and a few of them. And so it's like they're manipulating the brain bullshit. Now I have better fucking methods of control. Believe the outside people, all this other stuff. So that's the thing. That's the thing. Is it lore? It's not lore. It's the reality of the situation. Shut the fuck up. I don't care what your beliefs are. I allow you to have them. They're not right. They're not true. Mine is. And that's the problem I have. Because it's like, oh, we're in this future. It's like, those are future potentials. Any of those holes. Like, they got deletion. Like, there's one there as I was going to create my engine and all this other stuff. My grandpa died. He gave me money. And then it's like, then I got all the way to this point, and then like this guy, basically all the way to this point means, oh, they kicked me out of the apartment I'm in because I had money and apparently couldn't pay, you know, because I'm in a situation where I don't pay if I don't have an income, but then I technically got an income. I don't really have an income, you know what I mean? Anyways, point is, told them all about it, recorded all of this, blah, 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 blah. They still kick me out because it's like building the engine and creating the story, had a new computer. I was like, creating the YouTube video stories and the YouTube videos and the Twitch streaming about all this fucking, and I got pretty far to the point where like started hitting this place, the town I'm in. Eventually, I'm homeless. I was like, I have to sell this engine because it's like $200, and I don't have anything. So I'm homeless now in this place, not in this area, in another place. I'm not gonna tell you where because it's kind of boring. Doesn't really matter. But dude stabs me to death, cuts my head off, throws it off an overpass. Dude with the fucking engine, he's high on meth as fuck. Like, and I mean that. He's high on meth, like crazy. So anyways, the guy has my engine, patents all the stuff because I didn't get it patented. He makes billions off of all of it. And then, like, eventually it all comes out because I've released all this stuff already. Who's this guy? And there's like big old story. He got stabbed and killed and his head thrown off. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big story. Holy shit, look at all these things. And then they created my whole like fucking fusion reactor stuffs and engines and all that. And my parents were like, hey, that's his stuff. I was like, yeah, but he didn't build it, he didn't patent it, and they patented it, so it's their stuff. But creator of the designs doesn't get anywhere. People get really fucking pissed. They're all angry on one side or another with it. There's, like, most of the engines that are produced now are basically designed off of that shit. Hey, well, lo and behold, we are just simply building a big spaceship. It's for him, though. It's for him. It's not for us rich folks to leave. Literally, a bunch of rich people go up to it, fucking leave. They're like, holy shit, there's a big old asteroid. Totally knew about it beforehand. Just hiding it from the public. All the time. Because not everybody has all the telescopes and everything else. They can see it. You know what I mean? So they do that. And it's like, oh, it's only because we were traveling by it. Oh, yeah, sure. That's the only way we would have. Fuck off. Anyways, they get out. It's like, and everybody's like, and trying to do all the engines I've talked about. Couple get out. Like 2, 3, 4, whatever teams, not much. Not much, really. And then what do you know? We're going for broke. We're going to try and move the entire fucking planet or something. Deletion. They create a version of a deletion. They're like, well, if we do it this way, it's different. And it won't suck us all in. I mean, we're going to die anyways. The asteroid's right there. So, like, literally fucking day or couple hours or some shit like that. And then what do you know? It's just a never-ending hole sucking them back. They're all dead. They're never going to be able to come over to here. Their reality is gone. I jumped ship. You're a bad timeline. That's why they come in and they fuck around with you. It's like, that's it. And it's like, it's just a quantum being thing, though. It's like a little wiggly wobbly wave. They ain't real. They ain't good. They're shitty people. The guy was like, I knew a little bit about him, but I was also very high and I just want to hurt him. Not to mention, then there's the whole fucking thing in Chandler House, which I was connected to that fucker, because of my past, but it wasn't me. That's the problem. There's that fucking asshole in the past. When there was many realities, there were many universes and many people, but not really that many. You know, that's a whole thing I want to move off of. Because it's like, in comparison to what we have now, there's quite a few. But in comparison to like what there really should have been, there's really not many. You know, so that's what that is. And so he was like, oh, I'll be a martyr for myself. I'll say that I want it, and you think I won't, I'll challenge that. And I'm like, fuck that. No, I'm not doing that. I would never do that. No, I would never do that. And what do you know? They're still around because they're slowly getting sucked back in. So that's the whole thing. But my grandpa really wouldn't be the one. You know, he's not going to be giving me money, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong about that, you know, but I really doubt that. You know, I really do. And so, like, it was just a fantasy, but it's not a fantasy. You see, it was a reality that would have happened should I hit the right things. But if my grandpa did die and give me money, because of the difference of what they perceive me to be and all this other garbage and with that challenging dumb bitch from the past, and instead of me, he's like, I actually get pretty far. And I don't do that. I'm not gonna destroy my life with the fucking engine, you know, by spending all my money, you know, all the money. You know, I get a van, you know, I'm gonna invest in that, try and like get going in like career programming, stuff like that, you know. And so it's like it actually gets me further by far. And you know, they understand that like, hey, you know, you don't really have money coming in, make sure to pay, let us know, all that, because that's really what would happen, you know, versus what that was. Because they're not just going to kick me out because I have no, you know what I mean? Like, so that's a thing. But I was able to get my stuff going and I got far and I was able to get a job and get out of here. I got that close to being kicked out though. That close because I'm like building an engine in here and you're and making all this noise and there's all this stuff and it seems like you have all this money and I'm like, yeah, I don't have a subscription yet on my Twitch. I don't have anybody donating really that much at all. Um, I don't make any money really online, but I got some stuff going. Uh, so, and that was a thing. And then, yeah, the collaborations were happening at that point because it's like there's this guy homeless did all this stuff, you know, YouTube galore, fucking crazy ass stuff. Like give him a platform, give him a platform. Let's see what he's got. Started happening. Crazy ideas, views, but he's just advocating for safety and a change of thought and action of ourselves and you know very different like smarter people will understand it, you know, say what you want but smarter people can understand that a smart person has these thoughts and he's like, hey, I'm totally open to discussing this, changing my mind, not minds, and maybe you do too. I'll try my best to come up with the studies and bring some people along and do your own stuff. Let's talk. You know, I'm not here to yell and scream. I'm not gonna be X2C or Hasanabi. I'd like to keep it low and mellow, man. Let's do this. You know, yeah. So that's a thing. But my grandpa's not giving me money. You know what I mean? Like, but there's also caveats to that. If you want to know, there's huge caveats moving forward in that reality where it turns into, so why am I stuck in this job where I'm intentionally not allowed to leave at all the compound area and I'm not allowed to have sex, I'm not allowed to do anything, I'm not allowed to have relationships? What the hell happened here? And then Alan Turing was born. And I said, fuck this. I got all these cool things, whatever, right? But I said, fuck this, I'm out. All these fuckers are like, he's bad, and then the debate raged on and died. The whole fucking massive amount of money that's there decided to go, fuck you, no. And that whole thing sprang forth, and I went, I'm out. And I got out. I got out. I got out. Yeah. But no one. It was just me and an AI that I built. I said, fuck you. Bye. And I mean that. I got out. It took me a long ass time. I got my own mortality stuff. I got all that stuff. I mean, it's basics. Basic immortality. It's not like, oh, you shoot me, I don't bleed, bitch. It was like, no, no, no. It's just basic fucking, biology. It's gonna heal. It's gonna hurt. I'm not gonna die, but holy fuck off, no. Ah. And it's like, yeah, that's stupid. But I got it. All that stuff, right? But it's still bad, if I'm honest. It's like, I didn't really live a good life. I wouldn't want to live that. I was constantly fucking basically turned into a guinea pig with colleagues that were never friends, but they acted chummy. And people online that hated me, and that's the only thing they ever fed me, that information. And then a whole bunch of other shit is similar to that. Yeah. All my designs got freaking put out there, bullshit, right? And it's all just insurance. In case someone tries to do something, it's insurance. Like, it'll be there. No matter what. Just like that. There's like, we now have free valve, and it's basically like a free valve. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, I've got way better designs than that. We've talked about it. In fact, now I've even upgraded my design, although really, I didn't really upgrade the design. I already upgraded it back then. I let people that I was listening in, or that were listening in because they hacked me, or on the computer, or the camera, or my phone, So, like, that's a whole thing. And then there's this hacker that's going to try and take everything of mine, but he ends up fucking failing last second. He's just practicing his ass off to act like me and shit, but he's not me. He can't do nothing like that. He breaks hard the moment any of it. Can't fake it till you make it, man. That's not how that works. Same thing with all these other fuckers that are trying to pretend. That's why I had this whole conversation with those fuckers. It's like, you think I'm not connected to you? That's why Scoop Lock became a thing that I tweeted about and gave them basically all the basics of how to run an amazing engine system by throttle by wire. So that way you don't need a stupid valve to suck in. It's like, you use the valves, man, not the main big old throttle body. You add in some basic ass bitch, components, air pressure, air temperature, airflow, all that shit, and you know how to fucking make it run real well. So, yeah, and it's like, that's fucking phenomenal! Great stuff, truthfully, but not that great, right? And it's like, no, to you fucks, it's literally the next fucking big thing. It's a cheap ass way to literally make your engines run and perform like they're sports cars. And you're probably going to break most of those engines if you try and do it. So, I think I'll pee. I'll be right back. All right, back. So, the basic principles is like, there's this guy, apparently, he's in African, I don't fucking know, man. All I know is a bunch of hackers. There's a lot of ethnicities, there's a lot of people around the world. There's even government fuckers and corporations, too. So, there's the thing there. And it's like, he should be treated more special than you. He's had it harder. And I'm like, no, you haven't. He's a millionaire. He's a millionaire. He's literally a millionaire. I'm oppressed. And I'm like, mentally disabled by my mental disorders. Abused. Put through a system you never went through. Homeless multiple times. Pansexual. Polyamorous. And arguing for acceptance and safety and solutions for a lot of things people genuinely find impossible and generally have black and white thinking on. I'm more oppressed and suppressed than you've ever been. But that's just you individually. There are other people that have worth life, but then they don't have my talent, they don't have my intelligence, they don't have anything like me. They don't have the ability to basically make them trillions, probably. They don't have the singing talent, they don't have the acting talent, they don't have the fucking strategy, they don't have the marketing, they don't have anything. They're not a good fucking, in any capacity, reasonable choice to choose over me. And we know that I've got like something special going on with me. Then there's the fact that them and a couple others like to be like, hey, that black guy and you know a couple of the other ones in the LGBTQIA or whatever, like the just his cock and shit, like you're so fucking bad. But they actually are very angry with him because he's raped people, he's beaten people, he has a terrible history, like, and he's doing it to them. He's getting treated better than I am. That's the whole right wing crowd. And the left wing crowd is like, I don't really want to talk about that, but that is a thing. And we are just allowing someone to abuse the shit out of us and everyone else. Uh huh. And it's like, dude, you have to put your foot down. It doesn't matter with the fucking ethnicity, with the fucking color, any of that. A shitty person is a shitty person. Stop giving him special treatment. Benefit of a doubt eventually stops, man. Like, Jesus fuck. You know not what you say. I'm like, they need to do their own work. They are the abusive ones. Are you kidding me? The dude never does work. And I'm like, exactly. All he does is steal from me. Like you guys. And it's like, concept design work is not work. I'm like, tell that to the people who get paid millions of dollars for it. Not to mention the mental health work you're doing. Jeez, fuck. Yeah, okay. These would be very expensive for us to fucking like pay you for. Exactly. He's like, here's a Twitter bomb thread. Like, legitimately, thread that just destroys basically most of the ways we currently handle our engines, making them more efficient across their rev ranges, RPM ranges, tailor it for better efficiency, power, middle ground. They're nothing compared to that. Like, and it's just like, oh, why didn't we do that? And it's like, because fucking, it's like, because it's simple. And it's like, yeah, but you can make this pretty simple too. Like, honestly speaking, like, if all you're doing is pulling a cable, there's nothing saying you can't basically pull a cable and make the same thing happen with your throttle for the valves. It's better by far. It makes your engines far more efficient, performs better in all aspects. Like, what the fuck is this? I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, oh, it's just variable valve timing to the max, perfected with a hydraulic ram fucking set. Just with a fuse box, some capacitors, relays, all that stuff. Doesn't even need that much electricity to make it run. Just basic bitch solenoids. Solenoids don't need that much electricity. You're not gonna melt anything doing that. You're not. No. See? He's like, yes, you are. And you're not the veterinarian, and the veterinarian already knows you're wrong. He's trying to fucking challenge that shit so bad. Got so many people on my side with that tweet thread. It's like, you're not that fucking smart. Holy shit. I really want to do that. Oh, it's a project for you, your friends, your kids, whatever. That's fucking awesome, right? Yeah, that would be pretty nice, actually. Truthfully, yeah. It's like Ippy's right. All of it's stuff we have and have done before. Yeah. It's like there's nothing really bad. It's just putting puzzle pieces together in a way you never thought of. Creative beyond belief. Way better in all aspects than what we have now. And it's like, it's dangerous. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no danger. I saw the word Valvetronics on BMW, and I'm like, I'll give you fucking Valvetronics, BMW. For one of my YouTube videos, it triggered me. I was like, you really think? I remember when you took that from me. Ooh. You really think? Let's see. I'll do you one even better. I'll make you fucking have a free valve setup that is easily tailorable to a fucking regular ass ECU system. I don't even need a fuse box. That's just for electromechanical. If this RPM, then that. This duration, this length, out, pushed in. Pretty simple. And I can pull it back. It's a hydraulic ram valve setup now. It's like, why wouldn't they do that? Because I was the one talking to them. Miniature hydraulic rams aren't that expensive. They exist in the RC space. If you didn't know, in the microjet RC space. Although they've fallen out of favor for this other thing called basic ass bitch solenoids and rotating electro motors. So, truthfully, that's all that is. Yeah. So they just fell out of like, yeah, I'm not even kidding. That's literally what that was. It's like they were there for a good while in the 50s and 60s and even 70s. It's like they still have them. They still make them. They're needed for other applications. That's usually why they're kind of expensive. But a hydraulic ram is literally just a tube within a tube that has valves that go from the bottom side of the tube and then the top side of the tube, and you stick like a piece to the fucking valve because all it is a valve inside of a tube. Or, like that's the tube part of the tube. Right, yeah. But that's all they are. You can easily make them. Just seal them on both sides. It's all about the hydraulic pressure that you want to run and how fast that you want it to go through. So larger valves mean faster flow rates and lower pressure though, and so you need to up the pressure of the main cylinder that adds the pressure, as in a fuel line would basically be good enough for that. Yeah, fuel line rails are still a thing, and so like you can just shove hydraulic fluid and pressurize it. They're usually pretty good for certain pressures. So that's all you need. Now you have a valve setup that's easily fucking programmable or electromechanically programmable, which is pretty fucking simple. It's like this says RPM to fuse box. Fuse box goes, this throttle is here because of wire. It goes to here, the signal. The signal receives this pulse. Okay. And out the window you go with your bullshit. You could easily just fucking think of it yourself. But whatever. Seriously, yeah, it's not. It's like amazingly better all around thing. Why wouldn't you want to do it? And it's like, I don't have money. I'd do it myself. I don't have money. I'd easily do this. I could sell the shit out of this to people. It's such an easy concept in design, and people won't want to fucking do it themselves. So it's a convenience factor. It's like, here, I built it for you. Here, it's an upgrade kit to your car. It's literally all you need to do. I do it like in a heartbeat. Because like 2 heart. Anyways, whatever. But I would. I'd easily do it. It's just, projects are always expensive. Research and development, always expensive. Would I do it that way? No, I'd probably use a fucking simple ass. I'm not even kidding. I'm I'm talking like a couple of boards here. Maybe a Drano, maybe a Raspberry Pi, whatever, something small that handles the calculations. Because the ECU just needs to go. It needs to fire the injector right now, and here's the timing for the coil pack for the spark. You know what I mean? So we're done basically. Yeah, this one just doesn't even need to hook into the ECU. It's like, oh, I just got this separate, and it automatically gives you the right amount of valve lift duration, all that stuff at the right times, and then it fires. It works together because it's timed right for my injectors and for my spark, and so boom, 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 I get more power, baby. You know what I mean? And that's pretty simple stuff. It's not crazy stuff. It's simple stuff, but it's actually not simple. You see, for me, it's not simple. Is what I'm sure someone would say. And it's like, yeah, why didn't we think of that? And I'm like, I don't know. You had like tremendous amounts of time and effort put into these other things, and I had nothing better to do with my life but think about this. That's all that is, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I don't think anyone can't come up with it. Kind of. You know what I mean? Yeah, because it's like you have to know enough about engines to know, and I'm like, yeah, exactly. You have to also know about the physics. Oh yeah, for air fuel ratios, yeah. You have to know about nozzle sizes, air pressure differentials, all those, and you can two-stroke it. Oh, I love that one, the two-stroke method. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's like you can do half or like a little bit below. You still get a lot. If you get a forced induction, you can increase that pressure in the cylinder volume. And so, like, what does that do? You just turn a cylinder into a two-stroke cylinder without all the need for the crankcase bullshit by using valve timing. Still sounds like a you know what I mean? And you just 50%ed the power. You know what I mean? And it's like, but wait, there's more. I gave you more air and fuel. But wait, John Tyler Limke here. There's even another factor. I gave you more RPM. You think I'm not going to? And then, but wait, there's even more. I can dynamically tailor it. So that way, one of them is firing a two-stroke, another's a four-stroke, depending on what you want to do. Giving you fuel savings, but more power. And that's the best part. Like, you can do a lot. You can do a lot with that. That's also why I added a scoop lock. You know what scoop lock is? It's when the hydraulic ram can't push hard enough, and there's enough vacuum it stays up. And they used to call that someone else, but like it's a scoop lock. To me, it's just changing the intake. I'm not even kidding, or the pressure on the friggin' hydraulic ram. Like that works. But it's like there's a reason why intake manifolds all have fundamental flaws to me when they are just a straight pipe. I hate intake manifolds that are just a straight pipe. And I mean that. I mean that so hard. Intake manifolds are just straight pipes. They suck because of this. And it's like, how do you change this? And I'm like, okay. There's a reason why I like old carburetor setups that just stuck it in the middle at the top. You know what I mean? Like, that's easy as fuck. It spreads it pretty dang efficiently. If you look at it, it's basically a cone at that point. Then you divide the surface area or the circumference area, that whole thing for each one of the valves and the ports, and then you go for the intake area for the plenum or whatever the fuck it's called, for the carburetor. And it's like you divide that and you make sure that is larger or as large as every one of those damn ports. And next thing you know, you have a free flow. It's easy. You don't need to worry about that anymore. Seriously, I mean it. Like to me, it's like if I had a V8, I'm kicking out that stupid fucking like carburetor. I'm drilling some holes into the stupid intake. I'm with like a Dremel or something, cutting weight everywhere I can, and like that little diamond shape on the inside and outside, you know, but not like only in the right area on the on the inside, because it's like that means it wants to curve better, so it drags like a golf ball dimples, and it curves in and doesn't hit the side and then goes back in. So it's like if I can get it to curve a little better, it flows a little nicer, even though I'm introducing some drag. That's basic aerodynamics 101 for any car. And so if I do that, I widen it, I do the right, like, hey, so I'm going to calculate this and that, and then like, okay, so this is too small. Where's that adapter plate? That's basically what I need here. All right, so um, hmm, 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 hmm. I'm just gonna increase the size of that stupid filter. That's all I'm gonna do. I don't give a shit about the rest of it. Make it get that hole at the top. And it's like, all right, so now I just need to make sure the holes are here and here. Put the bolts through. Shake out all the dusts, water, run it through some water, you run it with some brake cleaner, clean it off, bolt it down. I'm good to go. I don't give a shit. And he's like, look at me, I've got far faster flowing air, far more flowing air. And because of the way I shaped it on the inside, it flows easier into the ports. And also, the ports are now each individual throttle bodies with port injection. Basically, it's not an individual throttle body, if I'm being honest. If I'm going to be real about that, that kind of thing. Right? It's not an individual throttle body, like you said, man. It's not. But what it is, it's like it's kind of like a velocity stacks. Yeah, that kind of thing. It's a velocity stack kind of style, but it's like it doesn't matter. Really? Yeah, no, it's not going to. I'm not going to give a shit that much about outright pure performance. I'm two-stroking a four-stroke usually. I'm adding more air and fuel, and it's more correctly mixed. I have higher compression. And it's like, oh, all I need to reasonably do is go like, here, that's a limit on my outright RPM, because that doesn't want to do that. No. And that's a bigger radiator, so that's good. Where's my forced induction? I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. Get out of here. So, what? Yeah. So a valve size, even if I push it down for the exhaust, has a certain area of like around the circle on the valve. And so like that then can only be by moving. And so that introduces a certain amount of resistance, which complicates my calculation, but not by much. And so like then I'm able to know like, hey, so by this point, in that point where we open that valve, it should be for the intake, and they already had the combustion. It's like it needs to arrive at this point here. Basically, I need to start opening up that valve and start closing off this valve after about this amount of time, and then I'm good to go. That's all I need to do. But it's a calculation work. It's basic stuff. It's really pretty basic. But there's a reason why I'm like, hey, I created these things called sliding valves for a reason, because I fucking hate that shit. I hate that resistance to my fucking engine. Like that resistance, you're in the way of my fucking flow, man. You're a literal barrier I have to go around. You're a shitty thing. The only barrier I want is the one that's over there that's sliding. After that, it gives me all the amount of air I can push through it. It gives me exacting, precise measurements that are far easier for the valve size, nozzle size, not valve size, dude. Nozzle size, yeah. With the pressure differential of, oh, it's this pressure, and it knows that. Right, because you have a pressure sensor and the thing. So it's like, hey, what do you know? And it's like, hey, so if I'm setting up my fuse box and everything else, it's like, yeah, no, I'm just going to calculate this real quick. Based upon, hey, shut up. Go to my website. Shut the fuck up. Go to my website. You shut the fuck up now. Go to my website. Put in your stupid valve sizes and your intake area. And like, it should be rough enough to fucking work. Is it as good as mine? No. But like, whatever. And that's all that is. Really? Yeah, because it's like, well, it's done. I'm done. Like, I have a fucking V8 that I can easily just rip like 7, 8, 10. What do you think? I'm gonna stop at 10K? I'm gonna go to this fucker can't do that. And it's like, yeah, generally speaking, they can't really do anything past 13. And it's like, yeah, 12.5 then. It's like, I need injectors and fuels. And I'm like, yeah, no worries. I'm gonna pulse the injectors before they fucking like open up the valves. Really? Yeah, I'm gonna pulse the injectors, and so that way I have a longer time for duration of injector pulse to be able to match the expected fuel amount. Depending at the RPM we're talking about here, it's like, right, yeah, because it's like there's only this much air. And I'm like, yeah, so there's only about this much time, and I'm like, yeah, so let's start it around here. Da, 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 da. It's matching it. Okay. Smart motherfucker, talented as hell, all the rest of it. What are you doing over there? You're not talented. You're not talented as me. You're pacing around like a fucking lion in a cage. And I'm sitting calm, cool, and collected on my chair. So, I don't know, man. Seems like you have some issues. But the point is like easy peasy stuff. But it's not. Like, you don't know how, like, that's a fucking talent to have, how easy it is for you to see that. And it's like, yeah, I know. Yeah. It is. It's actually genuinely hard to do that. It's just like it wouldn't be if people were allowed to think and really, really just imagine, come up with the whole like, how is it that you want to think about this? How, like, what is it your goal that you're trying to achieve? That's always the first question you should ask. Are you trying to get more power? I'm like, yeah, okay. So what do you know about power? It's air fuel. Okay, sure. Now, do a little bit more work on that. How much is it about the air and fuel? Well, it's combustion, really. And it's like, yeah, okay. What does combustion create? Pressure. Yeah. So how much pressure? Well, no. And doesn't pressure reduce as it goes down? It's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. So torque is created by the amount of pressure over time that is being exerted upon the seal that still allows for it to move of the piston head to the connecting rod to your crankshaft. It still needs to slow down by the bottom half because it can't keep accelerating. So it's like, why did you use that part? And it's like, because you're still gaining some torque. And I'm like, right, so then wouldn't it be better to like reintroduce another combustion at that point in the cycle? I was like, well, to increase the pressure, to gain torque. But it's like, you can't do that because you'll break your crankshaft, right? And I'm like, yeah, you will. So how is it that you do this? You're talking about two-stroke? I'm like, two-stroke's nice, but what if you were able to introduce a secondary combustion? There's still air in there. All you have to do is add in the fuel, and it's got more than enough heat and pressure. Combustion, compression, ignition. Now you've maintained the pressure. Now, granted, not at the point where it was at top dead center. It's not going to be. It's a much larger volume that's expanding, but you've increased the heat and the pressure. As a result of doing that, you end up getting something phenomenal because you get bottom end torque and you get high end horsepower. That's all you have to do. It's like, how do you do that? And I'm like, you already know. We have fucking diesel direct injectors. You can run regular gasoline if you want. There's still enough heat and pressure in there to fucking combustion and ignite like regular gasoline. Like, you can do that. That's a 4-stroke process. That means I get extra torque and horsepower. I just have to really lean out that mixture. And I'm like, well, yeah, but not really. But yeah. You see, can you run a top dead center pressure of 150 psi? How about fucking, we're gonna go for 35 psi. Sucked into that fucking goddamn cylinder after it's exhausted out. It's like, no, I need way better components, man. I can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, that's expensive, isn't it? You have a regular naturally aspirated engine? Yeah. So you inject this amount of fuel and you have this amount of air. It's lean. Basically, is what we're seeing here. Like, you can expect to get this amount of air on average for this amount of lift and duration. Let's work off of that. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, all right. So that injector can't handle that. That's a regular off the shelf fucking injector. You can't fill all that. That's true. Yeah. A port injection is just something attached to the intake near the port. If you didn't know, that's all that is, a port injection. Diesel injectors, expensive, but not impossible to find. You can put gas in there. You can also put a regular direct injection. It's like, yeah, it's not very high PSI. As long as it's above 5,000 or about 5,000, you can do it. You need spark? And I'm like, no, you don't. But you can do that if you want to. There's nothing saying your ECU can't time the spark at around this point in its downward cycle on a combustion power stroke. I mean that. You can. Absolutely. It's like, hey, this, I want you to pulse here and then this duration for your spark, and then wait this amount and then do it again. You can do that. If you can't on your ECU, well, I'm sorry. I have this Raspberry Pi or something. I don't know if you know about it, but I can do that then. And what do you know? I even got spark if you want it. Although there's more than enough heat, more than enough. It's like, so, there's these things. Do you know what this is? Is it fucking, is it a drill? There's welding apparatus. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. And then there's like shaping the hole by making what is that? Holy shit. Is that an injector that just fires off flames in a 4 or 5 pattern spray? Because they're compression igniting? It's like the fuck? It's like, no. Yeah. You should get some suit. Well, you have oil in your garbage fuel. I don't have oil. I've got gas. I don't have to worry about soot as much. So that's easy. But I could just get a diesel injector in, fire in some fucking goddamn, pressurized gas from a separate pump into a regular fuel line or rail. And it's pretty easy. I could do that. It's not that hard. In fact, that means I can probably take a diesel injection engine, make it a port injection, and just simply run it like that. It's a 4-stroke and run gas in it. Hey, what is that over there? Some cheap ass injectors we got off a junkyard. Salvage thing. Oh yeah, that'll work. That's fine. I can use a really leaned out mixture of a fucking carburetor, but I don't want to do that. Seriously. Yeah, carburetors are garbage to me. They are not something that increases the amount of fuel or decreases the amount of fuel appropriately for the amount of air going through it. Not to mention, they use a valve to basically limit RPM. It's like, I don't want to do that. I'm the one that wants to limit the RPM. I don't want to limit it by the amount of air that's going in. You don't even know how much air is going in at a given point in time. It's so ineffective, inadequate, inefficient. Brute force, I guess, though. Get a little bit more control. You get a lot more out of it. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, this would be an easy method to do. It's like, why don't we do that? And I'm like, because you're not really like thinking about it every day. You're chasing top end power with fuel and air and spark and compression. And I'm like, neat. You forgot the physics of an engine. You got the physics of what it is that this thing does. Yeah, sure, you need air and fuel and a spark. That works. But like, there's a reason why the engine works a certain way. And so that's the problem I have with engines and people that think about engines. Because it's like, I'm only thinking about it this way. And I'm like, why? Oh, get out. Again, that's 2 get outs now. Ooh. See, why are you only thinking about it that way? And you're not thinking about it my way at all. But it's like, I'm the guy that thinks like that. So you have to come up with a creative solution to gain something more. Well, they disconnected my Bluetooth microphone. Yeah, give me a second.